Welcome to episode 3 of my woodworking series. This video may be out of order, it's a little impromptu. This video is going to focus on a review of the Grizzly G0863 Cyclone. Originally, if you watched my video on dust collection, you would understand that I'm going to do a dust collector build without doing a lot of modification. And as such, I was going to include the review in that video or in one of the subsequent ones. However, at this time, I do not know if that build is going to happen. I want to preface by saying that before this occurred, I had no problem with Grizzly. I loved their tools. I have the 72-inch long, I think it's either a 6 or 8-inch joiner, and I've got the 17-inch 2-horsepower bandsaw, and I have their drum sander. So I've had really good luck with their tools until this. Now, this is not the Cyclone that was featured in my prior video. This is actually its replacement. And it is just as bad, if not worse, than the first one. So let's start by talking about what happened to the first one. I received the box, and the box was in great condition. I didn't think anything of it. I took all of the parts out, and I took all the parts of the dust collector out, and I started setting them up for the build. And then I noticed the damage. Now, on the original one, this right here was significantly bent. As you'll notice, this is bent. Now, when I seen that, I thought, it's a little out of bent. I could hit it with some pliers, put some tape around it, no big deal. I'm not picky. I use my tools. I don't need them to be pristine. It kind of sucked a little bit because I didn't want dust to be leaking out of there, but I was going to move on. Then, on the original one, this was dented. As you can see, this is dented again. So on the original one, I thought, sure, I don't like to, but I will go ahead, bend it back. I can throw some tape on it if I have to. Let me move on. But then the drum itself was dented, and that's kind of where I hit the point and said, look, I'm spending over $450 plus shipping on this. I expect my tool to be in good condition, and the drum itself is not usable. So let's take a look at the drum. Now, again, this is the replacement drum. And let me turn it sideways. I don't know if the camera will do it justice, but this is not circular. It's an oval shape. And you'll notice there's something in there. This is important because this is how they send this out. What they do is they have a cardboard box with some styrofoam, and they slide the drum in, and then they throw the entire Cyclone body, the wheels, the hardware, all inside of this, including this ring. They throw it all in there. And it gets beat to all hell in here, and it's no longer round. It's also scratched up, but again, I don't care. So, as you can see, it's not round. And we can test this. So this is the lid. As you can see, you cannot get this lid on there. You have to basically bend it back into position. And it does not create a tight seal. I've got a large gap on this side. I've got a massive gap on this side. And these two sides are tight. You can go in here, and it's so out of round that the lid just slides right in. Now, let's talk about some dates and facts of this dust collector. So, I ordered this on November 4th. It shipped out, I believe, the next day. It is currently November 20th. It took me multiple days to get a hold of their customer service to go ahead and get this replacement, okay? I had to package up the old one, send it out. They arranged a pickup. It was an inconvenience, but so be it. I got this one yesterday. I immediately emailed them with the photos, okay? They responded back to me and tried to call me. Their offer to me was a $100 credit to accept this. Now, the reason I didn't want to do that is I had already looked at getting a replacement drum. Okay, I wanted a backup drum anyway. So ordering a replacement drum through them is like $300. Ordering a 55-gallon drum new is about $175 plus shipping. There are a lot of people who sell used drums. The problem that I've run into is not many people sell used drums with the removable lid. It's called a bung lid. So I'm on Facebook Marketplace. Every single one of them says these do not have the removable top. Just take a Sawzall to it. That won't work because I need it to seal perfectly closed in order to keep the dust in. The second issue is, and this is one of the reasons I wanted their drum, which I guess I shouldn't have lowered it. There's a fill window here. The third thing I like about this drum, assuming it worked, is this port right there. And the idea is, if you're just using a drum, the sawdust will fill it up, and that's it. If you want to use a bag with it, though, you need to have one of these with a hose attached to the Cyclone body. So this is the upper portion of the Cyclone, so it's not on there. But the part that comes down, oh, actually, I'm sorry, I'm incorrect. This, right here, the hose attaches from here to here. That equalizes the pressure and allows you to use a bag. So the other issue is, and it's not that big of a deal for me because I don't think I was going to use the Grizzly base, but I did want to use the wheels, is that if I buy my own drum, I don't have this, I can't attach it to the base with the wheels. I'm going to be spending an extra $100 on top of what they refund me, and I don't have the fill window. I also have to then get bigger bags than what it came with. So I declined this option, and I'm still waiting on a response as to what they're going to do. With that being said, while this is only $450 plus shipping, and it's not a terrible amount of money for me, most woodworkers, that's quite a bit of money. And when I first started off in woodworking, that was quite a bit of money. Now I can go build a few cutting boards or a table or something, or do a small job and make that kind of money, and I don't care. It balances out. But when I was first starting off, $450 plus shipping was a lot of money, and I had to be conscious with the choices I've made. This whole dust collector system was supposed to be an easy, off-the-shelf, without a lot of modifications build, and it was supposed to be much more affordable than, say, Clearview or Oneida. However, this whole build is roughly $1,000 to $1,200. It's been well over 16 days. They won't ship a new one until they receive this one. So the earliest this will go out is tomorrow, the 21st. 3-day shipping via ground. Doesn't run on Sundays. I'm looking at next Tuesday or Wednesday before I get another one shipped out. So December 2nd, an almost month-long wait. I don't want to talk disparagingly about a company, but their customer service is absolutely abysmal. This is unacceptable, and having worked in logistics, I can tell you that this shouldn't happen. What really sells it for me, though, is when I called them back today, and I spoke to a woman named Danielle, and she said, this is clearly a problem with shipping. And I said, Danielle, how is this a problem with shipping? The box is immaculate. I was like, the problem is you're putting all of the parts in here, and they're not light. This is probably 10 pounds, if not more. The body of this is another 10 pounds. You got a bag of hardware. You've got different plastic pieces. You've got 8 wheels. This thing is heavy. And they're setting it inside of here, and it's basically just banging around back and forth, and it's bending. It's denting. There's nothing, no packaging inside here to stop all this stuff from splashing around. So I explained this to her, and she says, and I quote, well, that's just your opinion. I have packed a ton of stuff up before. I don't broadcast this, but back in 2014, when I was in between jobs at Geico and Allstate, I worked at FedEx for a good 4 or 5 months. I spent a lot of time packaging stuff day in and day out. I would probably package 50 to 75 things that I worked over Christmas, and there was some days where I probably packed 100 plus boxes a day. Packaging a box is not rocket science. Clearly, this is the problem, and they don't want to address it. So with this review, I give it a 0 out of 5 stars. This has actually cost me time and energy. My garage is a mess because I plan to do this. And in hindsight, I probably should have just spent a few $100s more and went with a Clearview or Oneida system. In the end, trying to save money was not worth it. And I honestly wish I could go back and just spend the money. I started this video series trying to talk about how expensive dust collectors are. But what I failed to consider is I'm paying for the quality and the customer service, and clearly that's lacking with Grizzly. So my total order for this was $1,200. I would probably be okay spending another $800 to not have to deal with this. The amount of times I've had to send emails and photos and write different emails out to them explaining what happened. Then they call me. I have to get on these 30-minute phone calls, all for something so simple as a product. This is a $450 product. It should not be this stressful. So that's my review. I do not recommend buying this from Grizzly. And at this point, unless their customer service changes, I do not recommend buying a larger tool that requires freight shipping, because if this happened with that bandsaw that I can't lift, what would I do? How would I repackage that for the freight company? It is not worth it. And the other final thing I'd like to say is, while this is a tool and I'm okay with it getting scratched up and stuff, when I'm spending money, the tool should not come pre-scratched, pre-dented. It's ridiculous. So do with this information as you will. I will never buy another product from Grizzly again, and I will never recommend them. I don't care what they do at this point. They are not getting my recommendation, point blank. I apologize if this video is too negative for you. That was not my goal. Give me some feedback, and I'll see you on the next video.